Oh yeah, baby, yeah. It's the Sharky 1968 Garage. Um, I'm gonna talk about an album. Well, three songs off this um, are really fucking killer, you guys. Now, this band, this album got swept up in something, that became bigger than this band. Like these guys were the first, I don't know, like Led Zeppelin or something, and they didn't even realize it or care to stop and smell the roses or something. They just didn't quite know it themselves, you guys, yet, anyway. And then, of course, before and after this album, tons and tons of lineup changes. But, this being Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, this has to be the classic lineup, you guys, of this band. Lee Dorman on bass, who later was in Captain Beyond with Rhino, the guitarist that would come along later after Eric Brand. And of course, they would hook up with that first lead singer of Deep Purple. Oh yeah, dude. The first phase of Deep Purple, that's the phase that I, Clark the Shark, really like. And of course, Bobby Caldwell, the incredible drummer of Captain Beyond. That band is what this review is really getting at, you guys. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm here to talk about this album. 1968, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, Iron Butterfly. Yeah, you guys, baby, this is the classic lineup of this band. Now, this album sounds a bit dated because 1968 music was moving on. This sounds really, really 1967, you guys. It sounds like it was recorded right smack dab in the middle of the summer of love, but it wasn't. This album was recorded in 1968. It doesn't sound like it at all. There's definitely like a Doors vibe. This thing is influenced heavily by, the Lizard King, Ray Manzarek, Robbie Krieger, Ron Bushy wants to drum like John Densmore, or who knows, maybe John wanted to drum like Ron. I don't know for sure, you guys, but I know they're both better than Lars Ulrich, also known as Richard Starkey or Ringo Starr, the Jewish British guy who the Ruddles, Dirk McQuickley and Ron Nasty got to replace the great Pete Best, who really wasn't that great of a drummer, but they could have just replaced him in the studio. Instead, the Ruddles fired Pete, and they did one of the biggest mistakes in the history of mankind, the history of the 20th century. They hired Lars Ulrich and replaced Pete Best, you guys. One of the biggest blunders in history, but the talent was so great in the Ruddles that it didn't even matter. Right here on the fabulous, amazing Clark the Shark Show at 1-800-449-8255 from the incredible golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys. It's a solid gold Sharkerphone that was actually given to me by Howard Stern, because he just is like completely fucking blown away by my show. Yeah, he's always like, that damn Clark the Shark. He's always ripping me off. He heard my show in New York, just like he said about Hush, Bimbo, and probably how he thinks or says about Mark Levin and, who knows, Jim Rome, Greg Gutfeld. Gosh, you guys, there's a lot of guys that think they're just fine, dandy, and amazing, awesome on the microphone, but those are mere mortal men who speak into a plain old run-of-the-mill microphone. Me, Clark the Shark, my delivery is #1 worldwide. And a lot of it is the technology, you guys. I use a sharkraphone, and it's better than a microphone. And, Dick Clark, he did give me the original sharkraphone, but it broke one day. And then Howard Stern actually showed up at 251 Paseo de Gracia very grudgingly and reluctant. And he just threw a golden EIB sharkraphone on my front porch. And he was like, "The hell with you. I don't care, I don't care." And he just drove off in his limousine. And I picked it up off the ground, you guys, and I fixed it. I glued it, I taped it, and I still have it to this very day. Because when I'm talking about In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, this 1968 psychedelic masterpiece, it's really not a masterpiece. This album has flaws. And I don't just mean, some of the lame songs on it. I'm talking about In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida itself. The song goes on way too long. I mean, Ron Bushy's drum solo is, come on, dude. I don't know. The jury's out, the book's half written, half published, searching for a book deal, that kind of thing, here on the Clark the Shark show. But it is what it is, you guys. 4 million copies sold. They made a lot of money off this fucking thing, you guys. Like it or not. But then before and after this band had trouble keeping a consistent lineup together. And, the guy Doug Engel, from what I hear, there's just a lot of disagreement inside the world of Iron Butterfly. These guys couldn't decide which direction. And, before this album, they kind of had good direction, psychedelia, lots of bands in an underground garage. Late 1966, 1967, there was solid direction, you guys. But then 1968 would come along and psychedelia would wane, kind of, you guys. And I don't mean like Wayne Gretzky. It would sort of start to get, weakened by a new sound, a heavy sound. Bands like Steppenwolf and, the Beatles put out Helter Skelter. And then Motown, Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye and all that, Diana Ross. And, there was a battle going on in 1968 between rock and R&B and psychedelia, it was hip. For 1967, free love, love-ins, people dropping acid, smoking tons of weed, getting wasted. But in 1968, just these marches in the streets and riots and political turmoil in the country. And, the Stones put out Beggar's Banquet and the world was just on fire, you guys. And psychedelia, was just burning out. And in a lot of ways, it's weird how Iron Butterfly really missed the boat, or they missed the train here. And yet this album is so good. And, a couple of songs here are so fucking good. It didn't even matter. This was a Destiny album due to come out and hit the scene and just explode and go big. Maybe it doesn't deserve it, you guys. Maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be and all that. You probably agree with me, Clark the Shark, because I kind of think that when I think about Iron Butterfly 1968. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, in many ways, the song In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida is a redo of Light My Fire by The Doors, sorta, with a little mix of like, I don't know, maybe incense and peppermints, or who knows, you guys. But for better or for worse, like it or not, take it or leave it. It is what it is. Right here on the fabulous, incredible Clark the Shark Show, #1 worldwide, you guys. Nobody else. Forget the other reviewers on YouTube. You guys got to let them go, because a lot of them, they're just trying to get views. They buy fake views. They try real hard, but they have no chance in hell against Clark the Shark. It's pretty bad, dude. If even Howard Stern, Hush Bimbo, Hannity, and Michael Savage himself, these guys have no chance against Clark the Shark, for fucking crying out loud, man. So all those reviewers on YouTube, dude, it's not going to happen. Going one-on-one against Clark the Shark, it's basically a fatal move. You don't want to do it. I recommend you talk shit and start a blog or videos about how much you hate Clark the Shark, because that's your only chance. And I would actually love it if you do that. And I love it when people do that, because it shows me and it proves to me just how #1 the Shark-a-Doodle-Doo, the Shark-a-Llama-Ding-Dong is. And it isn't because I'm really fast or I'm really smooth and my delivery is incredible. That isn't it, you guys. It's the life experience. It's the folly. It's the shitty life. Everything goes wrong for Clark the Shark. And you guys out there all know it, and you can sense it and feel it. And that's why you come here every day. You want to check in, and, you're like, my life fucking sucks, and I just want to make sure things are bad for Clark the Shark still, because it'll cheer me up, and then I know, I'm not alone, misery loves company or something like that. But Iron Butterfly, you guys, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, this album, this song, what an album, what a sound, what a band. It's too bad they couldn't hold this lineup together. Now, this lineup here would reunite a few times over the years, but often far, far in the future, too late, you guys, to really, matter or make a big impact or something. I would have loved to have seen like 7, 8, 9 albums from this lineup. I would have loved to see the evolution of these 4 guys. Unfortunately, you guys will never know. It never happened. It wasn't meant to be. The good Lord above said, there's got to be a captain beyond, with Rod Evans and all that. And Ian Gillan had to be in Deep Purple. It was all meant to be, you guys. And, Richie Blackmore and all that, all the shenanigans between Ian Gillan and Richie and all the drama in Deep Purple. That band couldn't hold it together either, much like this band, the immaculate Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, right here in Little Sharky's 1968 garage. I'm not going to call it the underground garage here, or psychedelia, really. This is, yes, it is psychedelic, but this is more good atmospheric music to me. It's almost like prog rock. People say Procol Harum is prog. Dude, listen to this album. This is prog here, you guys. Iron fucking Butterfly. But not really, You could tell that Lee Dorman wanted to do something beyond this. He doesn't mind managing this or monitoring this over the years. Till he died, sadly, a while ago. Lee Dorman passed away, but he was really taking care of the finances and the comings and goings of Iron Butterfly over the years. He was one of the people doing it. But when people would stop and talk to him and go, dude, Lee Dorman, Captain Beyond, he'd stop and look at them and wink and go, fuck yeah, dude, that band too. He was monitoring, any activity regarding them or any progress. Of course, Rod Evans disappeared and became a doctor. I think he works at the hospital in Los Angeles where Clark the Shark was actually born, which is called County UCLA today. It's not in Torrance. It's on the Los Angeles City Strip. And it was called Harbor General when Clark the Shark, was born there on April 27, 1965, about 3 years before this incredible album, Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. I was only 3 years old, you guys, and yet I feel like not only do I know this album and this band, but I know all four of these guys, and it's like I argue with them or something, and they argue with me, and we all hate each other just perfectly, beautifully, right here on the Clark the Shark Show from the fabulous, unreal golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys. It's the Wolfman Jack on crack, the Sharkadoodle-Doo, the Sharkalama Ding Dong, me, yours truly, your humble servant here, your DJ, MC, I don't know what I am, you guys, the microphone guy, speaking into the mic. And when I'm talking about In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, 1968, what a fucking sound. I mean, I think some of these songs could have been better or something, you guys. I'm not kidding. But, let's check the stars. All Music, 4.5. The Encyclopedia of Pop Music, 4. Rolling Stone gave it a negative, you guys. Rolling Stone, they fucking hated everything Zeppelin did. Yeah, they may have got that right or wrong, depending on the mood of the Sharky. But this was the classic lineup of Iron Butterfly: Eric Brann, Ron Bushy, Lee Dorman from Captain Beyond. Rest in peace, man. I think Eric Brann is gone too, you guys. I'm not sure about Doug and Ron, but of course, Doug Engel, the leader, unofficial or otherwise, and he would exit Iron Butterfly, come and go. It was just a mess, you guys. This band just couldn't get it all together, get it all on one page. Look at that. 4 million sold. Whether this album really deserved it. Worldwide, 30 million. It's like Zeppelin, you guys. What an album, what a song. Just incredible. But there's problems here, you guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Most anything you want, 344, just to me, Clark the Shark. I love the sound. I'm not so wild about, the lyrics or something about it. It's like, when Mick Jagger and the Stones did, that new piece of garbage, hackney retards. It's, there's just something completely and totally wrong. And most anything you want, I love the psychedelia, the vibe, everything, but there's just something I want more. And the same is true with Flowers and Beads and Are You Happy, the final track. But these two songs, My Mirage and Termination, a couple of the greatest songs in the history of rock. You guys, you got to hear My Mirage and Termination. Incredible. Termination has a vibe like, that song by The Who, Glow Girl. I don't know why I get that vibe. Where I don't know, it's a girl, Mrs. Walker, it's a boy, Mrs. Walker. Tommy is born or something, and I get that vibe with termination, that death, but happy death or miserable, sad death or something. I love those two songs on side one, you guys. But of course, side two, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Now, I don't know if this song is like this because of The Who, a quick one, maybe. Light My Fire, certainly. But I know every band wanted to do a song that was 20 minutes or 9 minutes or 12 minutes. After The Who did that song, you guys, like it or not, it changed history. And it had a big impact on the psychedelic bands. Who, a lot of them were like, let's do a long ass song. Let's do it, because these little songs on side one, great as some of them are, they are not In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. They're not lit up in blue, you guys. My Mirage and Termination should be amazing psychedelia, atmospheric, melodic, dark, garage, and yet polished or something. Just fucking awesome, you guys. Iron Butterfly, 1968, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Dated, it sounds like something from 1967. It should be from 1967, you guys. It's a real holdover, hanging on to the summer of love. But then again, maybe no, with Ron Bushy playing the drum solo and just all the instrumentation and killer shit going on here. You could tell some of these guys wanted to branch out, and though this was incredible, they wanted to go even more incredible, whether it was with this or something else. And that could be why Rhino, the next guitarist or one of them that would join this band, him and Lee Dorman would form Captain Beyond. It sounds nothing like this, you guys. It's like Deep Purple meets, I don't know, Derringer with a little bit of this and all kinds of killer shit and The Who, all mixed up and rolled together. But very progressive, lots of time signature changes. Very, very wild. You gotta hear Captain Beyond, you guys. I want you to buy that album tonight at Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. Fuck yeah, I do. But also, of course, buy this album that also has Lee Dorman on bass. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, this psychedelic fucking weird, very strange shit. And yet it's commercial, it's come on, you guys. It sold 4 million. It was all over the Billboard charts, bigger than a lot of albums. And maybe it doesn't deserve it completely, or maybe it does, you guys, right here on the scrupulous, heavily analytical Clark the Shark show, where I think I may have just given you really the only review of this 1968 psychedelic, progressive, atmospheric album, you guys, with these four incredible musicians. It's like they want to be the Doors, or the Doors want to be them, and yet they're nothing like the Doors. And, they want to be like Incense and Peppermints, the Strawberry Alarm Clock, but no, they're nothing like that either, you guys. This is a sound all their own. And it is heavy, you guys. And it's rocking, no doubt about it. I wish this lineup could have stayed together. And I really hope you buy this album. If you're only 20 years old, right here in December 2023, you were born in 2003, years after 9/11, after those terrorists flew those planes into the World Trade Center, Twin Towers. You don't even remember that. my friend, you're too young. But if you want to grow up quick and get an education, forget going to some liberal college. Fuck that. I want you to hear Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, this album right here, Termination, My Mirage, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Really just listen to the whole thing. It could have been better, you guys. It certainly could have been a lot worse. Thank God it was exactly what it was. An album that sold 4 million copies, you guys. Huge. Had these four guys had stayed together, they would have been huge. The next album, and then the next album, and then the next album, and then the next album. Let me tell you right now, these guys would have been Led Zeppelin or The Who or The Stones or whatever on fucking steroids, you guys. They would have been. Perhaps they don't know it themselves or they don't even care. And they're just like, dude, Clark the Shark, I hate that other guy so much. Fuck that guy. I don't want to be in the same room with him. I understand, you guys. I've been in bands. I know how it is. It's a lot of brains in one room. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of disagreements. There's one guy that wants to fucking call all the shots. And there's another guy that wants to call a lot of the shots. Believe you me, in my band, GE, The Greenhouse Effect, that guy was me, Clark the Shark, like the guy, the leader, or whatever. But who knows? Maybe if I would have backed off and let someone else have a say more, it might have helped the project. We'll never know now. It was 30 years ago, you guys. 1992, it all broke up. And I wasn't, really the kind of guy that wants to be in a band where it's just constant lineup changes. I just wanted to have, three guys in a three-piece band where it just stays those three guys, forever, like Rush, until somebody dies, like Neil Peart. Three-piece bands, they gotta stay three-piece. I say that about Triumph. I say that about the James Gang. I even say that about Blake Douchebag. They added the guy from the Germs. I don't like to fuck with the three-piece, you guys. I am a three-piece purist, and I like to keep it pure. But Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida was not a three-piece. No, sir. These guys had to be a four-piece, like Led Zeppelin, like The Who, like Black Sabbath. They had to be, you guys. And thank God they were that way, because this album and this song, these three songs, listen to it all though, you guys. Maybe this was just the demo for what was to come later. Like I say, I would love to have seen this band, these four guys, be together for like 9 albums over 15, 20 years, but it didn't happen. This band just turned into a mess, a sticky, gooey mess. Too many people coming and going. And, the fans, they get impatient and squirrely and squirmy, and they love worshiping a band that keeps the lineup together. A three-piece certainly, but a four-piece too also. That's what the fans want. Smart bands know that. Genesis knows that to a degree. The Who knew that. There's a lot of bands, they're like, we got to hold us three guys or us four guys together. Even if we hate each other, we got to do it. And some bands just don't learn the lesson or read the tea leaves. They didn't get the memo, like Styx getting rid of Dennis DeYoung. Shit like that, dude. Me, Clark the Shark, I don't fucking like that shit. Right here on the Sharky Show. But I love In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida and Iron Butterfly, and I want you to buy this album, you guys, and you tell them that Clark the Shark told you to buy it. Go buy it at iTunes, Amazon, Spotify tonight. Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. What a song, what an album. What a collection of four amazing guys. Get this record, people, and if you can find it on vinyl, real analog vinyl. I have this in my big vinyl collection, a very scratchy. I think I bought it at the Rhodium in Torrance. I'm not sure. Maybe at Go Boy or some record store back in the 80s. But I used to play it a lot. I remember about 1986 when I was 21. I would play the shit out of this album. I fucking loved it. Me, yours truly, your humble servant here at the Sharkerphone. Not a microphone, you guys. A solid gold Sharkerphone, and it really was given to me by Dick Clark, not Howard Stern. Fuck Howard Stern. And fuck Lars Ulrich. Those guys, I'm not talking about the guy in Metallica. I'm talking about the fucking guy in the Beatles that replaced Pete Best. Fuck that. Forget all that, you guys. Get into Iron Butterfly and check out their other albums, even if the lineups are different. And the album before this one, you guys, it's all very interesting. And who knows, maybe they knew something I didn't. Maybe there was a reason why they couldn't hold the band together. I'm not sure. But check it all out, you guys. And you heard it from me, Sharky. And I'm out of here, people. Peace.